The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League has gone west as we venture out to uncharted territory in search of success at the Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park in Chandler, Arizona. As the pullers take one last shot at dialing in their machines before the regular season begins in the super modified two-wheel drives, some of the strongest teams from the tour have made their way to Arizona. The Longs, the Tatums, and Sheltons all have a pair of trucks in the competition. The top three Superstock diesel trucks are here looking to get inside the track on the 2014 PPL points season. Stay tuned for all the Western pulling action.
Tractor pulling. The ultimate test of power. Purpose-built vehicles create thousands of horsepower using turbos and superchargers, alcohol fuel, and multi-engine configurations to see who can pull the farthest. A sled weighing thousands of pounds is used to stop the pulling vehicles. A moving weight box progressively adds resistance to end the run. The sled is customized for classes ranging from customized farm tractors to multi-engine modifieds. Teams spend countless hours preparing their machines for competition. Thousands of dollars are spent traveling to events across 10 states, maximizing power and repairing broken parts. The season is long, and the competitors have to maintain focus every pull to compete for a class championship. This is Tractor Pulling with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.
Welcome to Wild Horse Motorsports Park. It's the first time the series has traveled out here to the west, and this is the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Wyotech. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears here with you, and we're just outside of Phoenix in Chandler, Arizona. It was great to have the competitors come out here. It was quite the trek, and as you can see, pretty breezy out here as well. But all these guys are dealing with setup and a brand new track and put on quite a show in a couple of our categories. Of course, today we will be featuring the super modified two-wheel drive category and the super stock diesels.
Just amazing machines out here as you're taking a look at the Wyotech Class Graphic. Engines out here upwards of 575 cubic inches. They are running those big superchargers that's going to force air down into the engine and create somewhere right around 2,500 to 3,000 horsepower.
Let's check in with Crash Gladys.
Well, guys, we talked about the drive and coming out here to Arizona. Is this sort of kind of a spring break for the Shelton family?
You could say that. My dad and them and two of his buddies, Michael Chandler and John Pickler, actually helped Dad drive out here. They left the Wednesday night or Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, and they got out here Thursday night. Me and my brother and Warren, we actually got the good end of the deal. We got to fly out here, so it only took us 5 hours to fly out here, which was a long flight, but nothing compared to what they did, and I respect them a whole lot for what they did driving out here like that.
Well, you didn't do the drive part across the country to come out here, but it is still kind of sort of a family trip, would you say?
Yeah, we hate my mom and sister can't be here. My sister's at home. She's got some prior commitments she had to handle at home. So, but coming out here, my brother and my dad, weather like this here in Arizona compared to back home in North Carolina where it's ice and that, it's great out here. We just couldn't be more happy to be out here.
The young man is inside of a championship winning truck that his father drove and, of course, has certainly shown a lot of promise. He is a talented young driver. A lot of power out in front of him. It's called the General Tire truck. And first one out of the box is always tough no matter who you are. 285 and 85, a pretty decent distance right there. And you can see he certainly listened whenever Dad was talking because he was very gentle with that throttle, but it never picked up the front end, Leslie.
A very respectable distance, but you're absolutely right there, Ken. The front end trying to pick up. However, under these kind of dusty track conditions out here, it's all going to be about finding the correct setup out here. And unfortunately for Grayson here and the General Tire Cutting Edge, he gets to be the guinea pig out here. Now, he does have the option to kind of turn down this pull as our test puller and come back and pull again. However, 4 guys in this category, very seldom do you see them do that.
The onboard shot there, and you can see how slowly he goes to power with the right hand. And once you're committed there to the power, it's pretty difficult to back off and try and let those tires catch up and then go back to it again. And it might not have ever happened. So that, too, is also quite a chance if you're going to decide to do that.
It'll be interesting to see some of the changes that the other drivers make, whether it'll be moving weight around or perhaps taking some air pressure out of their tires.
Here's a look at the pulling order. We just saw Grayson Shelton. If you look down there in the number 8 spot, you'll see Grayson again inside of the Sawmill Express. Tony Tatum, of course, Lisa Tatum. I mean, the field is littered with champions. The Longs are in there as well. And Sean Blagrave coming up next with a wild horse out of Texas.
It's exciting to see the Blagraves come pull with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. They've also got a diesel super stock tractor as well in their field called the Red Horse. So his dad, Steve, drives that tractor. And, of course, Sean, the young gun, just 20 years old, getting his shot here in the Wild Horse.
Boy, beautiful job, and he buries that thing down at the end, but look at the distance there, 3:06 and 53 as he takes over the lead.
A good shot right down the center of the track. And, of course, these guys are used to the drier tracks out here, you know, pulling in Texas. They've got a lot more of that out here. And so used to those conditions, but a tribute to the young man here as he gets a good setup on the truck and does a great job driving it.
Couldn't agree more. As the bodies go up there, you can get a good look at that power plant. The Zoomies, of course. All that weight strategically placed, and those chassis all built with a purpose. Just the right amount of flex to get the power back to both of those rear tires. All right, rocking it old school. Cheap shot reloaded.
Skylar Nyber coming to us here from Rigby, Idaho. And so it's interesting to get our pullers from the West Coast that we don't see on the series. And, of course, we sent Crash Gladys down to talk to him about his venture here.
Well, guys, talking to Skylar and how much he travels, you're coming down here from Idaho, but this is old hack for you. You go to the Midwest, you do pulls all over the country, right?
We do actually. This is a semi-close one for us, a 15-hour run, but we travel out to Illinois. We did some shows out there, did a hook in Missouri last year, and we're planning on doing it again. We want to get out to Bowling Green and hit that one this year, so we're making the rounds. So this is nothing new. Throw everybody in the truck and spend a few days on the road.
Well, you're used to doing mostly stuff on the West Coast. Can you explain the difference in competition from Midwest to the West Coast?
There's a huge difference. For one, the number of two-wheel drives actually is really small out here. I think there's only about 6 to 8 that run in the western part of the United States. So obviously the numbers are big, but the power plants, the trucks are almost set up completely backwards because the weight. The tracks that we run on are a lot softer, a lot sandier, and we have to obviously put a lot more weight on the back than we do on the front. So which may play to our advantage today. It looks like this may be a pretty soft track, so we're actually looking forward to it.
Just an absolutely gorgeous truck. The old step side looking really good. And you talked about it before, you know. We saw the Texas puller come out here, and this guy as well, used to these sandy tracks. We'll find out what he has.
And there he goes, the front end way up in the air.
And he has to get out of the throttle and back in it. Sorry, Leslie. But the track pulled him to the right-hand side big time. And he had good weight distribution, that front end way up in the air.
I really thought that he was going to have the shot at it. Although the launch was maybe a little too high, I thought maybe he was going to get that quick launch up in the air and then it was going to settle back down to where it should be. But you can see it really hooked up to the track, and he just had to pedal it, and he wanted to try to keep it off the wall out there. But if he could have kept it going in a straight line, he had a shot at it. That thing was ready to go.
Yeah, it just settled back down, like you said, and buried those back tires. And unfortunately, it got a wicked grip on that left rear and launched him off to the right-hand side of the track. And he put on a show and went for a ride, tearing some stuff up underneath there, too, like that blower belt coming off. On-off throttle might have killed that power plant.
And it's just so hard on the power plants out there when you do have to pedal that throttle. Just so many working parts out there. And of course, he runs a Chevy block, 572 cubic inches, that beautiful 56 Chevy step-side body out there too. So it just makes him unique. And the paint is amazing, Ken. You get up close to that Cheap Shot Reloaded and you can start seeing the figures in the flames.
Yeah, it's a beautiful truck for sure. And speaking of beautiful, I mean, I always like this one as well for the longs. It's just a really clean-looking truck. Nothing crazy on it, just beautiful, clean, sharp. And, of course, if anybody can get it done, this family can get it done. These guys are so talented, all of them, and they all chime in and decide to make the decision on which way to go, what gear they're going to use, and where they're going to put the weight, and they know a lot.
Keith Long doing the driving here, and you can see that he's got the setup here on the left-hand side of the track for riding dirty. Everybody else a little to the right of center. He's going to try it on the left-hand side. Like a bullet.
Man, he could not go any straighter. I mean, that was a beautiful effort right there. Look at the distance. We have a new leader, 3:16 and 15.
A great job there, keeping the truck straight. And we've seen all of our competitors prior to, except for Blake Graves out there in the Wild Horse, they made a straight shot as well. But of course, Keith Long going to learn from that pass. He keeps it straight as an arrow all the way down the track. Good ground speed, front end up at the very end, doing what he's got to do to take the lead.
One more look at it. When he really goes to throttle early. I mean, he's full throttle early on. You get the gear right, you get the weight placement right, you can pour the power to it.
And these guys, of course, learning from the prior classes that run on the track, and they got to actually see the pro stocks run out here earlier today and saw what a fast gear that they were running. And so they have those fast gears in there. They save them for special occasions, and this seems to be it.
There's a look at your top three. Keith Long now steps atop the group. Stay with us.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn. General Tire, anywhere is possible. And by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Once again, we're back here at the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Wyotech as you look down the track. And that is Lisa Tatum, daughter of Tony Tatum. She is a former champion inside of this category. She's firing up Dad's truck. That one is lit off and running. He's going to go out and take a crack at this track. Earlier today, Crash Gladys had a chance to speak with Tony Tatum.
Well, it's good to catch up with the Tatums, even here in Arizona. And here we are standing on a drag strip, and we're going pulling. This has to be a little odd for you.
It's a little odd, but for years I have wanted to come to this racetrack for an NHRA race and just to be in the stands and watching. And I was coming down the lanes here in the Jeep and in the truck, and I got goosebumps, just chills. Even now saying it, I can't believe we're on the drag strip driving down this. I can't put it into words. It is awesome.
John Force, Shirley Muldowney, Kenny Bernstein, I believe, set records here, and now Tony Tatum.
I hope I set a record, but nothing bad anyway. But I just to be mentioning that with those names, John Force is my hero, always has been, always will be.
All right, well, go kick some butt. Go do some Force something out there today.
Hey, I'm going to try. Like Force, us old guys, we're after the young pups.
Well, he may say that, he's an old guy after the young pups, but with so much experience under his belt, I don't really think you can call him an old guy. You have to turn that around. You have to call him a veteran.
Well, and again, the engines just sounded absolutely perfect, but it just never really picked up that front end. 302 and 28, respectable for sure. No question about that, but those guys really need that front end up in the air to plant those back tires.
And this could be a situation where maybe they just don't have the weight to throw on the back of the vehicle, and that they've moved everything that they could back so far, but they need a little bit more. And so unfortunately for the Cheap Shot Reloaded, they had that broken blower belt where they could have shown that maybe their truck setup was a little better suited for this course. However, we're going to see what the other competitors here can do if they can find that weight to pull back.
Fans being treated to some really great talent inside of this two-wheel drive category. And up next, going to be another one of them from that Long stable. This is going to be Keith Long in the MAV TV truck. Of course, he has some great data to go off of now.
Both the Long trucks almost identical out there. Minor Brothers power plants out there putting those 3,000 horses into the ground through those rear tires. And, you know, the chassis are the same and they've got that extra setup to go by. However, the trip down the track way different as Keith Long ends up on the right side of the track.
309 and 73, and Keith before went 316 and 15. So that difference might have been what you just talked about, the fact that the track kind of tugged him to the right a bit.
That first pass was straight as an arrow, but you can see right there begins to tug him over to that right-hand side and maybe just not as good pulling surface over there. And of course, once you travel the sled across the track sideways, you're going to lose distance at the end when it comes out from the laser.
Tim Messer will be coming up next in the wide open truck. As we continue on with this two-wheel drive category, Grayson Shelton still to come back with a Sawmill Express, and he'll see a track that is much different than he made during his first hook. Take a look at the body work on that one, man. Everything completely smooth, covered up in the front, and gorgeous paint.
And of course, modeled after a coupe that the doctor actually has back in the garage, and he wanted to stick with that same sweet-looking black and red paint scheme.
And it was kind of hard to see, but he actually did have the front end up just a little bit there towards the end. 296 and 78 is the distance. Again, Tim probably hoping for a good bit more than that, but you know, another really respectable pull when you talk about these guys going nice and straight.
And it's just finding where it's going to hook up off the starting line, because you see Tim inside, he waited some more to really get it going out there, and perhaps they've got to get on the throttle early and they've got to get that ground speed up right off the bat to pull the heavy sled down the track in order to put up those big numbers like the Riding Dirty machine.
It's a game of inches for sure. I mean, it's a tough thing to do. We sit back and watch it, and we can tell you maybe they should have done this or done that, but it's way harder when you're inside of the truck. There's a look at your top three. Keith Long having a great day. Keith Long is sitting atop the two-wheel drive category here. First and second place at the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Wyotech. Good thing for the field he doesn't have three trucks here.
Boy, he could put him 1, 2, 3.
Right? Speaking of John Force, not uncommon to see three of his cars in the semifinals. All right, let's move on here. We go back to the young Shelton. This is Grayson. His second attempt at the track. This truck called Sawmill Express.
A little bit more space between his runs than those of the Long team. However, same good data to go off of. A little bit different chassis under the Culp Lumber machine than the Cutting Edge machine. So we'll see how they fare.
Way over there by the sideline. Looks like you heard a power plant early on. Might have got a piston on that run. Never saw the red flag come out to DQ him, so the distance still going to be well short at 252 and 84.
And what a great gamble here for the young man from North Carolina. Putting it over there closer to the right side where nobody's really been yet during this class to see if he could find some new ground, because that's what it's going to take to get around the Riding Dirty machine. And you can see right there problems with the power plant right off the back as he gets close to that white line.
They'll put him on the hook and get that one back to the box. They'll have a little bit of work to do here at the end of day one. Of course, they also had some issues as well with their super mod tractor, so the boys will be busy tonight getting ready for day two out here at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. Sonny Martinez. The truck is called Taz, and speaking of competitors that have trucks in two different categories, he's one of them.
And of course, we saw a super modified tractor. It pulled earlier in the day, and he does double driving duty. Now, this is his home. His super modified tractor is what he's been driving for almost 30 years out here, and so he runs the same Chevys in it that he ran on the mod tractor as well. But again, having some trouble there, veering off to the right-hand side of the track, just like everybody else. Look how close that is.
You touch the line, and you're DQ'd, but he somehow managed to stay just inside of it.
I have no idea how he had the foresight to back out of it to keep it in bounds like that. But I guess that's what happens when you drive for 30 years in a super modified two-wheel drive truck with limited visibility.
Yeah, and that wall's right there too, so if you go too far over, you're really going to pay a price. Of course, these guys really just going for it out here today. It's one of those events where it's all or nothing, so you want to hang it out just as absolutely long as you can.
And it's so early in the season for everyone. They've been twiddling their thumbs inside, and they've been running stuff on the dyno, and they've been watching videos from last year and just really trying to figure out what's going to work for them this year, and to see it come to fruition on the track is just really all proof positive for these guys, and they're just excited to be out here pulling.
Well, we've seen this truck for many, many years. Will he make it? But it's very rare that Barbie gets behind the wheel.
And of course, the Barbies actually bought the Willie Make It machine from the Longs and completely went through it and redid it. It's got a full pull motorsports chassis underneath of it, but still that Minor Brothers power plant, very similar to what the Longs run. A nice straight shot there by Barbie.
Yeah, and you can see she has some experience as well. I mean, she did a beautiful job of slowly applying that throttle. Sounded like it bobbled a couple of times, though. Maybe something in the fuel system. It just wasn't real clean and crisp the entire pull.
All in a woman's touch there, Ken. Her first full season in the truck was last year, and she made a few select events over the winter, just trying to test and tune and dial it in. But she's going to try to make this full circuit this year with the Lucas Oil Propylene League.
I'm glad she's out here and wish her the best of luck, of course. Great to see the ladies inside of the sport. They know how to get on that loud pedal and make some noise. There's a look at your top three. We'll be back in just a moment. Finish this class up. The fans enjoying the truck and tractor pulling here at the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Wyotech. The Tatums are coming up here next once again. This time, Tony Tatum, who's already seen the track, is going to fire this thing up for his daughter. And we talked about Lisa, of course, being a former champion inside of the category. Talk about ladies not being afraid to get on the throttle and make some noise. She will definitely get on the throttle. And, of course, Crash Gladys had a chance to speak with her earlier today.
Well, we were joking with Lisa Tatum earlier about, hey, let's just throw it all out there. Let's just set it to high gear, use that gear you never use all year. But is that kind of true?
Oh, for sure. I'm so glad that Lucas Oil brought us out to Phoenix, Arizona. The weather is beautiful. The track is sandy, which is something that we're not used to pulling in Midwest. But we're excited to come out here and try stuff. And with this sandy terrain, we don't pull in anything this sandy. But there's a couple of places that we go to throughout the summer that are a little sandy. So if we do good here with this setup, then we can maybe tone it down a little and do a little better out in the series this year.
So you really are going to throw a few things at it that you haven't used before.
Oh, hero or zero. Here we go.
And, of course, they're making reference to, of course, Goshen, Indiana and Evansville, Indiana, where they actually pull in the daytime at both of those tracks. Very sandy conditions. And so she might have her dialed in here if she's going hero or zero.
When it does pick up the front end there towards the end of the run, 3:04 and 66 is a beautiful effort. Won't be enough to win here, but they took a crack at it.
It's a solid effort here, but the track is what wins in this situation. Check it out. Lisa Tatum actually has the full throttle pointed towards the left side of the track, just kind of using one of those old school tricks there to try to give her a little bit of an edge. But this is where the track starts to win, and it starts to pull her off to that right side. If she could have kept that straight, she possibly could have been a contender.
On board.
Ooh, she's wheeling. Look at how hard she's hitting the brake.
Yeah, she was really working the left brake there right towards the end. And you can see her eyes looking off to the left the entire time, but it was not enough to will the truck over there. So finally she had to work that left foot and lean on the brake a bit. That, no doubt, cost her. So they did have a good setup.
Well, coming here from Texas, giving up his spring break, but being on the podium, that ain't too shabby, huh?
No, it's not. I was really impressed with it being the first time coming to a PPL pull and coming out third. I was pretty excited about that.
You okay with your distance, 3:06? Everybody was just kind of throwing whatever they could at the track. So do you feel like you did the best you could with that?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I felt like everything was right, the weight was right, tire pressure and timing, and I thought I did pretty good, and I was pretty excited with 3:06.
Yeah, good effort for sure. And take a look at Keith Long. I mean, talk about having a great day. That is how you get it done. Congratulations to Sean on a beautiful effort there getting up on the podium. Let's get it back down to Crash.
So Keith Long gets first and second place here in Phoenix. It's almost like you had a leg up on everybody else. You must have. How did you know to read this track as well as you did?
Well, we've been at this so many years, and we've been on tracks like this numerous times. We can usually hit a setup like this, and we were very fortunate to hit it right on the money with the first truck. We made some major changes on the MAV truck over the winter, and it was kind of uncontrollable driving it, and I'm tickled to death with it because the changes we made has really helped the horsepower. So we're moving in the right direction with it.
Congrats once again to Keith Long. Yes, the super modified two-wheel drive category is complete, but we are not finished yet. The Superstock Diesels are coming up, and they're a lot of fun to watch. Stay with us.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Speedco Truck Lube and Tires, built for speed, staffed for quality, delivering world-class value. Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. And by Wyotech. Enroll today. Turn pro at Wyotech.
There's a beautiful shot of the tower here at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park alongside the drag strip. Welcome back. And once again, we're going to get it down to Crash Gladys.
Here we are with the Diesel Superstock four-wheel drive class, a class we haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of, so we're in Phoenix, first time. How did you guys get the invite?
Well, our class is gaining some popularity pretty quick. Our trucks look real similar to like trucks you'll see on the road every day, and kids are becoming very popular with them. It's relatively easier to make power, and so that's why we're gaining popularity.
Okay, but this is not exactly what you see on the road, so explain the differences. Sure, it's a truck, looks like the diesel trucks you see on the road, but there are differences, vast differences. Tell me.
Well, there's a custom tube frame chassis underneath this truck, and semi-truck rear ends and front ends, and then there's a 2,500 horsepower motor under the hood too.
Yeah, don't try this at home, right?
Right.
Just an amazing class, and of course they're jamming as much as they can out there under that hood. These guys are allowed to have up to 4 turbochargers and 2 different pressure stages out there, but they can only fit 3 under the hood. And that big turbo that they've got in there, pushing all that air in there to make the 2,500 horsepower, you can stick a soda can in it. It's so big. It's like a 5.4-inch turbo. Just an amazing feat to produce that much power in these diesel superstock trucks.
All right, Alter Ego is the name of the truck, and Matt Clemens is the man behind the wheel. Beautiful-looking Chevrolet, and Crash Gladys had a chance to speak with him earlier today.
Let's break a few stereotypes here, all right? We've got doctors in this field. We've got dentists. Matt here owns an environmental company. You're a father of 2. How do you balance all the things you have going on, your real job, your pulling, your daddyhood?
Well, my wife will tell you it gets pretty busy. I think you got to try real hard to keep the family a priority, though. Everything else has to come second, but we do spend a lot of time at all 3.
Well, in order to keep the family a priority, though, money does have to come in somehow. So let's talk about balancing your 2 jobs, if you even want to consider pulling a job.
Well, you know what? The company, I have a lot of good people that work for me, project managers, operations managers, people that pick up the slack when I can't be there, so I'm thankful for that.
All right, let's watch this thing go to work. Oh, and a big stumble right there. Oh, and it gets hurt bad. I wonder if the previous stumble had something to do with this, but nonetheless, it just shut itself off. All the whiter smoke, light gray smoke, if you will, is unburnt fuel, but as you can see, when it's burnt, it is coal black.
And you can see the smoke change right away as he's trying to gain ground speed and pick it up as he's heading down the track. Very unfortunate here for Clemens as he ran so tough last year. But to come right out of the box after a long, cold winter and have this kind of stumble right here and have some kind of breakage, I'm going to say he's probably got a bad turbo out there with all that white smoke. And so he's going to have a lot of work to do in the pits.
Boy, what a shame, too, because it was really starting to roll. There's no doubt that one had a bunch of steam.
And, of course, you see Shane Kellogg, another competitor in this category, coming out there to take a look at it as they're trying to figure out perhaps what is wrong there with Alter Ego.
The two cone-shaped devices on the far right were the intakes for the turbos, and then you could also see a little bit of the exhaust, which is absolutely magical plumbing that these guys do as you take a look at the running order here as well. But the welding and the bends inside of those trucks to keep all that exhaust flowing perfectly is nothing short of exceptional.
Van Hazley, the patriarch of Hazley Machine from Fairmont, Indiana, with the Rock Hard Ram.
Boy, and that one's just slowly on and off. Keep in mind, same engine builder. And another pedal right there at the very end. I've got to tell you, it's almost like there's something inside of the ECU that's telling that engine, controlling that engine, and telling it what to do. It either sees too much of something or not enough of something and shuts it down, or just slowly controls it in and out.
But it's amazing to look at the tires go to work. Of course, you can see that the tires offset here, but as they get towards the end of the track, you can see the color of the dirt change out there, and that means that they're getting into dirt with more moisture content, and they're actually creating tracks going down the track that are about 3 to 4 inches deep. So they're really pulling on that moisture and finding good dirt underneath of it and lugging and chugging down at the end.
And I'm going to take everything back that I said about the ECU, because if you watch his hand, every time that engine bobbled or you heard it back off, his hand moved, especially a big one right at the very end. It might also have something to do with the truck being very rigid, and as the driver bounces up and down inside the cab, their hand moves a little bit. But there is no question that the audio lined up exactly with the movement of his hand inside of that truck.
One of our pullers from the West Coast coming to us from Ogden, Utah, Ken Jones in Wild Diesel.
Boy, these things are just absolutely incredible. Talk about a fan favorite class, and it's because they can identify with them, I should say. 287 and 12. It looks just like a truck you could drive on the street. And these are the new hot rods. I mean, back in the 60s and 70s, there were the muscle car days. Well, welcome to the muscle truck days.
But what's not to love about these guys? Big, beautiful black diesel smoke. Check out the stream of dirt that they're kicking up with those super wide tires. I mean, just precision all around, including the amazing paint jobs that they put on them.
It's the best of everything. There's plenty of room to sit inside of it. You can tow your boat with it. And if somebody wants to race you, you can do that too. Not a problem. Whatever you want.
There's no buddy seat inside, though. That's
well,
the
not
only thing they're
inside
missing.
this particular model, no.
If we had the buddy seat, we'd be complete.
All right, coming up next, Jason Scott. The truck is called Addicted out of Rock Springs, Wyoming. Slowly building boost here.
Ooh, there's a slight whistle in that turbo right there.
And he is short of the 100-foot mark, so he can actually try this again a little bit deeper in the class, but very odd. And you can see that these guys are on the cutting edge of technology, so there's some stuff going on here that they have to really have to baby these turbos and get them exactly where they want them.
And he keeps trying. He keeps trying to get it to light and building more boost and giving it more fuel, but just can't seem to make it happen. The other thing that these got data loggers to tell them exactly what's going on out there to keep them up to date.
There's a look at your top three. Van Hazley is the man to beat. We're here at the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Wyotech. And we are in the middle of our Superstock Diesel category, Superstock Diesel trucks. And quite a battle brewing here, and I love it when you get a young class that's as healthy as this class is. There's so much early development and technology that screams its way to the front.
And a guy that's on the forefront of that technology here is Kyle Michael in Climax, because it's actually a 6.6 Duramax. Everyone else in the category is running a Cummins, but not this guy. He wanted to go diesel truck pulling, and he said, there is absolutely, positively no way that I'm going to run a Cummins, so I'm going to figure out a way to make this Duramax work.
Well, and check it out. That is a very respectable effort right there at 290.05. Beautiful job.
When he doesn't have the same technology that everyone else has to go off, because the Duramax is actually, he's got it plumbed differently, it runs completely different, and he doesn't have any R&D from anybody else. He is the R&D, and so he's actually been running it on the track and actually has a customer base following him now, those guys that want to run those Duramaxes out on the track.
Well, it's a smart move, because you're right. I mean, there's a lot of those guys out there, so if he can figure it out, they're all going to follow along and buy some parts and pieces and a tune-up to go along with it. He grabs second place for now, and look at that thing go to work, man. Those cleats are chunking up some dirt. All the suspension, chassis flex, everything is all by design. Boy, and that one is working hard.
And you can see that's what I was talking about earlier, turning up that fresh dirt that's got a little bit more moisture in it. So as they edge down towards the top end of the track, we'll call it, they can find some good dirt to hook into.
Our next competitor coming up here, another gorgeous looking Dodge, off constantly. And this is Kurt Hazley.
Now, he is at a bit of a disadvantage. Kurt usually runs in the 3.0 diesel truck class, which actually runs a DOT tire. It can only run one 3-inch turbo. So he souped it up for the National Farm Machinery Show in February and thought, you know what? I'm just going to leave these cut tires on it. I'm going to tag on a second turbo, and I'm going to come run in Phoenix. And so he's a little down on power because he's not moving as much air as everyone else, just with the two turbos out there, but should put on a good hook here.
Boy, very respectable run once again, and especially considering everything you just said at 287 and 67. I mean, that's a beautiful effort, and that's good enough for third place as it stands right now.
And check out his position on the track. Far right-hand side is where he will find himself. No one's been over there yet. However, because he's down a little bit on power, these dusty conditions could play in his favor. Perhaps maybe some of the other vehicles on the track maybe just overpowering it a little bit and can't quite get the hold that he can, being a little bit down on power.
Still sitting on the left-hand side as well. Room for your buddy seat in that one.
That's right. Listen, I'm in. Put me in. I will strap in. Give me the fire suit. I'm ready.
So good stuff there. The Hazleys came out here to play hardball, that's for sure.
When all the R&D that they do back at their shop in Fairmont, Indiana, they kind of have to prove it out here on the track. And, you know, consummate winners, you know, Van has been the patriarch of the family there who has the lead there in the rock hard Ram. You know, he's been doing this for over 25 years, and so he definitely has a lot of R&D under his belt and a lot of know-how on the track.
Shane Kellogg, gotta have it.
He'll flip-flop sides here, going to the left. Nobody's been this far left, and it'll be interesting to see if he's going to get drugged to the right-hand side of the track like everyone else.
I was just going to say another Hazley machine-produced power plant. There's full throttle.
He waited so long to really pour it on.
He really did, and that's what these guys are concerned with. That's what's going on. If they just hammer the throttle, they're going to blow the tires off these things. So they are really playing nice with it at the beginning as to not light these tires up. It's quite a dance.
And of course, no working brakes on these trucks. All the steering that they're doing is with those front tires, which is also used to help propel the sled down the track because they are so light on the rear end.
And of course, the water coming out there is an intercooler. They feed all that charge, that air charge, going into the power plant through an intercooler to cool it down as much as possible. The denser the air, the denser and colder the air is, the more power you can make.
Finally, full throttle. You can see him really stand on it at that point. And really, it was about the 150 mark when he finally hit full power.
Well, it was good enough to take over the lead. Congratulations to him for that, and he is atop the top three. There's one truck yet to go. Can he hang on?
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League has been brought to you by Ion, the lightest, fastest, fully waterproof HD action camera on the market. General Tire, anywhere is possible. And by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world.
Just one truck left here at the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by YO Tech. We're out here at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park just outside of Phoenix in Chandler, Arizona. Also home of the drag boat racing series, the Lucas Oil Drag Boat Racing Series that comes out here and competes as well with their World Finals. All right, final truck here. Another Hazley machine power plant inside of this one. Eric Stacy. It's called Smokin' Ya.
All the other Hazley machine power plants, those 6.7s. Eric Stacy here with just a 5.9, just a 5.9.
Boy, and again, just a quick pedal right there at the very end. So these guys definitely have a thought process that they are sticking with. 294.09, not good enough to win, but it is good enough to get on the podium. That is a second place effort.
What a tough position, though, for Eric Stacy at the back of the pack. He is going to try to emulate that run there by Shane Kellogg, and gotta have it that took the lead. Sticks over on the left-hand side, but it's really that pedal at the end that really hurts him, and he loses all that momentum as the box is topped off and the full weight of the sled is on the truck.
At 5.9, getting it done pretty good, though. Nice job for Eric Stacy. All right, Van Hazley finished up in third place, and down with him is Crash.
Van Hazley coming in the 3 spot today and bringing the entire family with you. This is a family affair, Victory Lane.
Yes, kind of a short vacation here, a little bit out of the winter weather. I think we're still down in the single digits at home and snow on the ground, so this is kind of a nice place. We really want to thank the facility out here at Wild Horse Park. I mean, it's just a wonderful facility. We got blessed with beautiful weather here today, Crash, and I did everything I could do. I just didn't understand the Arizona dirt we'll have tomorrow to regroup and see if we can't do a little better.
And of course, Shane Kellogg finds himself at the top of the pack, and you have to think maybe he got a little insight from Van Hazley out there for his run, but Eric Stacy with that solid effort at the end of the day finds himself in second.
Well, just like we talked about in the staging lanes, Eric, 1-2 again for you guys. What's going on here? Is there something that we're missing, or are you guys just really sharing information? Great.
It's got a lot to do with just a lot of camaraderie with everybody. I mean, we all share information, and you know, this track here come down a lot of how you drove it today. It wasn't about the horsepower or really the truck. I mean, it was the line you picked and how you went about driving just driving. I mean, how long you was on the clutch, you know, when you was getting on the throttle. It's very tricky. We learned a lot today. We'll know a lot more tomorrow, you know, to come back and try it again, and you know, hopefully we'll be up there in the top 3 again tomorrow.
And here he is, the man of the hour here today, picking up the win. Shane Kellogg gets it done and gotta have it. And of course, he's riding high too after winning a championship in this category on the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League last year. So he's gonna keep the wins rolling as he heads into the 2014 season.
Well, Shane's been a tough one to beat in, well, several events from what I've been hearing. How were you the only one to go over 300 feet here in Phoenix?
Well, this track was a little bit of a tricky one. We're out here out west. Altitude's pretty much the same at home. There wasn't much different we done on tuning for, you know, fuel air wise. But the track is a lot of sand, you know. We're pulling in a desert here, so I was expecting it to be, you know, dry and sandy. And it was, and I just looked for the hard spot on the track, and I never went to full throttle until the last probably 30 foot. You just got to be really, really patient, and you know, horsepower is your enemy on tracks like this, so you got to control it with your hand.
He did a great job of controlling it, that's for sure, so congratulations to him on a solid effort, and Shane Kellogg picking up the win in the Superstock Diesel category. Hope you enjoyed all the great pulling action. We certainly enjoyed bringing you the first ever event here of truck and tractor pulling from Wild Horse Motorsports Park. For Crash Gladys and Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. We'll see you next time with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.